What's going on, guys? Morgan Film Fan here. This is going to be my final Vinegar Syndrome review. I did the rest of the films that I bought in those YouTube short vids, the minute-long ones. And I got a couple box sets. I got the Scanner Cop box set of Scanner Cop 1 and 2. I'm not going to be reviewing those as of now. I might in the future. But I haven't seen any of the original Scanners films, not even the first one. Surprisingly enough, I love David Cronenberg. It's on my list. It's gonna be watched, but has not been watched yet. So maybe in the future. But my final review is gonna be Televised Terror. Now, I bought this box set because it was 50% off, and it caught my eye. I kind of got an idea of what kind of thing I was getting into. It looked like late night TV movie kind of aspect going on, where you get three films that were released either in the 80s or 70s. We got one 90s, one 80s, and one 70s in here, so it gives you a good mix of three decades. I like that. And I was thinking about buying it during the sale, and I ended up going for it because half off, why not? And I had never bought a box set from them before. It's too bad actually that I missed out on the Amityville box set that they released with the 4 Amityville horror films. Still gonna buy those, but I did miss out on the box set, so that's unfortunate. But Televised Terror is really, really cool. I'm here to talk about the films. I'm not going to be spoiling any of them, but I watched all 3, and I'm going to give their plots and synopsis and what I thought on each. But I love the way they put together their box sets. Like I said, Vinegar Syndrome, you can never go wrong. And then you get your 3 films put together, looking beautiful, as always. And they were all a lot of fun. They're definitely made for TV, and I like that they're going in that direction. I'm also glad that I bought Volume 1, so it gives me the opportunity to buy the rest of the volumes once they come out. But going through them one by one, we're starting with 1984's Calendar Girl Murders. Calendar Girl Murders is what the title suggests about calendar girls, and it starts the film off where they're basically at this party that they're hosting to kind of promote the girls, and there's dancing going on, and there's photographies and kind of paparazzis there all over the place. There's this host that's played by this guy that really looks like this one actor that pops up in a bunch of stuff. He looks like that guy from Hatchet, and who popped up in Jackass as well, with the big white mustache and always like smiling and funny. Not that actor though, unfortunately. I thought it was him, but it's a different actor. However, one of the calendar girls gets murdered in her hotel room. She's pushed off the balcony and she falls straight down to the ground. There's an investigation going on because the way she fell doesn't seem like it was a suicide. It seems like it was a murder. And we're introduced to this detective, and his name is Dan Stoner, or Detective Stoner. And he's there to basically investigate what's going on. He finds a lead to this woman named Cassie. Oh man, I'm blanking on her last name, but her first name is Cassie. It's like Cassie Bascom or something like that. She's played by Sharon Stone. So Sharon Stone was the only name that I actually recognized in this film. And there's a bit of a pattern with having one celebrity that you recognize in each of these films. I think they did that on purpose. But yeah, this guy is basically investigating this woman because she used to work as a calendar girl as well, but left the field and everything, but she knows a lot of the ins and outs. And this guy, Dan Stoner, is like total, like, not womanizer, but player type. He's always like charming the ladies. He's got this mustache. He really reminds me of Tom Atkins in the movie Halloween 3. How he's just like after every woman, even though he's like married at home. The only difference with this character is the fact that he's married at home and he actually stays faithful. So this woman, Cassie Bascom, played by Sharon Stone, is always after this guy and like really putting herself out there to have a relationship with him because she's all over him. But he's having none of it. Anyways, a lot of twists and turns start to happen. It's got a big 80s feel with a big 80s score. There's a great chase scene in the middle of it involving a van. As the film progresses, we get to a lot of like people, I'm just going to say like changing their names and a lot of double crossing and people being hard to find. It's really, really interesting. All the characters are fun. It's definitely made for TV. It actually reminds me very much like a Giallo-inspired film. Obviously, it's American-made, but the Giallo feel to it, that Italian horror murder mystery, is definitely present in this film. It was decent. It definitely dragged in some parts, but it's an hour and a half long, so it's not that bad. But the main character, Dan Stoner, always makes me laugh. Detective Stoner, this guy, was really fun to see, and it was so. He always kept reminding me of Tom Atkins in Halloween 3. That's the only thing that I could think of every time I saw him on screen. But good flick. The next one is Child in the Night, and this one stars Elijah Wood in, if not his first role, one of his first roles. So he's a child actor in this thing. I think he was like 10 years old or something like that. And this one is about the kid played by Elijah Wood. His name is Luke, and his dad takes him to his office just before they're going to go out to pizza, and then they're attacked, and the father asks Luke to hide behind a chair while he goes down to, interrogate the attacker or whatever, and the attacker, he happens to know the attacker, and the attacker ends up killing him with a hook, and Elijah Wood's character witnesses this. After this, there's an investigation in the murder, and they're obviously trying to figure out what happened in this murder mystery. Luke is plagued with PTSD from witnessing the situation, and then they're trying to get this kid to kind of mention what he witnessed and what he saw, if he saw anything, but he just won't talk. He's really hiding everything inside. There's this detective, I totally forget his name, I'm so bad with names, I really should have written them down, but he meets this police officer, not police officer, I'm sorry. The police officer, the detective, meets this child psychologist, and again, he uses her to try to get information out of this child, Luke. And she tries her best, but he's really secluded. There's this big Peter Pan theme in this film, which I found really interesting. There's a lot of scenes that they actually build sets, and it looks like a stage play, where you got this guy actually dressed like Captain Hook, and throughout the film, the child refers to the bad guy that he saw as Captain Hook, and that's how he always refers to it. And the entire story that he builds, because he has such an active imagination, and throughout the entire thing he's always playing and making up stories, and he just loves Peter Pan. And like I said, there's segments throughout the film that are actually excuse me, they look like a school play kind of thing. And that's how basically the film goes. And then you got obviously the detective and the child psychologist falling for each other. You got some romance going on, and you get this pretty big twist at the end. I'm not going to reveal it obviously, but it's a little weird with what's revealed. A lot of like things to do with family ties and all that. There is some of the friends of the guy who died, the father. I think his name is Scott. I might be mistaken on that, but I think his name is Scott. McCain or something like that. And they were really good friends with this group of people. And this group of people are really weird because they're handling the grief so bizarrely. They're, if bizarrely is a word, I don't know. They're always like crying and like looking at pictures and smiling, and then they'll start fighting with each other, and then they'll start smiling again. I don't know. It feels very made for TV again. It's even got the bars on the side of the screen, so you can tell that, it's definitely of that time and of that era. I also watched the special features on these, and I learned a lot about TV films, if you want to call them that, and how underrated they are. Because there's this, one of the special features features this film historian, Amanda Reyes, and she's very well spoken. I liked listening to her a lot, and she explains like what the TV film was and or what the TV movie was. There was another name that they called TV movies. They called them glorified anthology segments. I really like that term too because it makes sense, because they would play them weekly on TV, and it would be like the weekly movie special or whatever. So it could feel like an anthology if you put it that way. But really interesting information on TV films. But anyway, about this one. The twist is weird, I'm not going to get into it, but it's really cool seeing Elijah Wood play as a child actor, and he does a really good job. You can tell why he became famous today, given the performance that he gives in that one. Finally, this is the one I like the best, and from the title, I thought I was going to like it the best. I ended up liking it the best. Are You Alone in the House? TV movies, obviously because they're made for TV, they're made for families, like appropriate. There's no swearing, there's no sex, there's no massive violence or gore. So this is literally like a TV version of When a Stranger Calls, or One Missed Call, or something like that. Like, especially When a Stranger Calls, it definitely has that flair of there's a stranger calling the house and you're just going, I'm watching you, whatever. And this teenage girl is getting these strange calls, and it starts off, the movie straight up starts off with a rape. So you know that somebody's been raped, and obviously it's your main character. This one has Blythe Danner and Dennis Quaid in it. So this one has two recognizable faces. Blythe Danner being awesome. She pops up in so much. One in particular called The Last Kiss, which I have a review for The Last Kiss on this channel. She's great in that. And then Dennis Quaid. Everybody, is it Dennis Quaid? Yeah, Dennis Quaid. I just didn't want to fuck up his name. Yeah, he's in here. He's in so many things. He always usually plays the same character, that like stern, you know, father figure that's like very disciplinative and like very conservative kind of. He's usually that character. Except for Pandorum. Pandorum, he does a phenomenal performance in, and he kind of breaks away from that mold where he plays more of a tough guy and like a balls to the wall, like space explorer, like, you know, rough beard kind of guy. Regardless, we're not here to talk about Pandorum. I already have a review for Pandorum on this channel as well. There's a lot of POV shots, which are classic horror, where it looks like the killer's like following through hallways and stuff like that. So great camera work on this one. And like I said, it's tame, so it doesn't have a lot of gore or no swearing or anything like that. But it's very, very creepy. And this girl's trying to find out who's putting notes in her locker, because the notes get worse and worse and more cringy. And she doesn't know what's going on. She's seeing this guy named Steve, and they have a relationship throughout the film. And it's kind of up and down, typical teenage relationship. And Dennis Quaid is dating this girl named, I think her name is Allison, and basically they're like the group of four kind of thing. And then as she gets closer and closer to solving the mystery, eventually she gets there, and then we go back to what happened in the opening scene, and the movie carries on from there. And it's basically about justice and, you know, people who do wrong and get away with it, and what you can do, like how it affects people around them, and the consequences that bad actions can have on people, and how a lot of people will often stick up for put down the victim and stick up for the predator, or like not believe that the predator is a predator and make it seem like the victim, it's like their fault, which obviously happens a lot, I've heard. I can't understand it, but apparently it's very apparent, so it's very relevant, especially if you're a female watching this kind of film, on that kind of subject matter, but done in an more appropriate way. So it's not in your face like I Spit on Your Grave or fucking Last House on the Left. It's nothing like that. But it does hit hard, and it's done appropriately, but it's not that tame. We also get a really creepy teacher. I'll give away one quick thing, but this teacher literally, he's teaching 17-year-old kids. This is high school. This is not college. And he's teaching them photography. And he's like, okay, we're going to take some sexy pictures today. Can you take a sexy picture for me to the teen? And we're like, what? The teacher said this? What the hell? So she goes and she does, and then the teacher's like, that's Hollywood sexy. I'm talking about a little bit more natural sexy. And the girl starts doing it, and he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is fucked up. I... Okay, I'll go with it. It's weird, but I'll go with it. Yeah. Are You in the House Alone was my favorite in the box set. But the box set is so, so cool. Once again, titles in the back, beautiful pictures in the front, collage of all three films. Please Stand By, you got that classic bars from the 80s and 90s. Fucking love it. And that's Televised Terror from Vinegar Syndrome. If that box set is still available, definitely pick it up. But Vinegar Syndrome releases the titles regardless if the box goes out of print, so you can still get the films. And that's basically what I got to say about them. Maybe I will review them in depth, one by one, as I usually do with B-movie banters and stuff like that. But I'll see, maybe in the future, but there's no plans as of yet. But I just wanted to give you the basic gist on each of them. If any of you are interested in Vinegar Syndrome, which you should be, and if any of you are interested in either of those films, just know they're made for TV, and they definitely feel like they're made for TV. It's not for everybody. It actually wasn't for me for a long time, but I'm slowly starting to get into them, especially listening to Amanda Iries, I think her name, Reyes or something like that. I'm sorry for butchering names. It's never been my strong skill. I really should write them down before reviews. I usually do, but I didn't this time. I'm sorry. Shit happens. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more when I can, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, take care and cheers.